take you on a little journey, a 15-minute journey, where I'm going to show you, demonstrate you what we call the boardroom of the future. And to do that, for the purpose of this demo, I want to do a thought experiment with you. Okay, I want you to go back in time a little bit to May 5 this year, 2015. And as part of the thought experiment, I want you to assume that you are entering into the boardroom of SAP. And when you enter, you sit at the table, what you see on the screen is an agenda like this. It's a very typical boardroom agenda that you probably recognize, where there's an opening, which our CEO Bill McDermott will do, and then his chief of staff will do a further introduction of what the objectives are, and some updates. And then in item number 2, that's where the CFO will talk on a financial overview, and then there will be other speakers around new strategic initiatives, product updates, etc. Okay? What happens in the meeting is, or let's assume this meeting starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we fast forward to 9:30 when the CFO is starting to talk. And what happens, in the boardroom of the future, I would go and open up. This agenda item, and as you can see, this is not a static agenda. The boardroom of the future has a dynamic agenda, where the information that is displayed comes directly from the systems that we're using. So what happens if the CFO clicks on this little icon here? What happens? It opens up a dashboard, and this dashboard shows all the different aspects of a business. So what you, for example, can see here is historic revenue of the last 2 years of SAP, and then in 2015 our revenue to date. So this is May 5, so we've done 4 months of business already, which you can see here in blue. And what the system does as well, it starts to predict where will we end at this current rate, based on historical performance and all kind of other parameters. Where are we likely to end the year? And that's what you see in the green. And that's very powerful, because in one overview, you as a participant, you can see that, hey, we're likely to end the year at budget, both from a revenue perspective and from an income perspective. So that's what this dashboard is telling you. But it's saying you much more. It will give you a view of your balance sheet, how we're currently doing in our assets and liabilities. It will show you a picture of the headcount. How is the headcount of our company evolving over time? What is the latest? How are our employees, how engaged are they at the moment? What is the latest updates and attrition rates of our employees? It will also tell you how your competitors are performing, what is their revenue trends, and how is their stock performance behaving compared to our stock performance. So this is, if you like, a full dashboard to manage your. It's a balanced scorecard, by which you can manage your business end to end. Now, this data, if I click here, this data is almost real time. If you can read, you probably cannot read, if you can read these small little tabs here, it says as of 10 minutes ago. There's all the data that you see in this dashboard is based on data 10 minutes ago. But I can go in and I can recalculate, for example, my balance sheet, and it will calculate it, and then the data that you see right now is as of now. So what Colin alluded to earlier, such dashboards, they don't run in a BW environment where your data is a few days old or even a month old. This data is retrieved from your transactional SAP database and can be refreshed anytime because there are no aggregates. And that's the beauty and the power of such dashboards. And there will be the other beauty, of course, is that the other people in the boardroom, they have access to that exact same view of or the one source of truth. They can see this dashboard and update it as well. And that is how SAP wants to create transparency around your financial situation to all decision makers. What I want to do next is, since it looks like we're predicting that we end up on budget both from a revenue perspective as from an income perspective, I want to look at one of our strategic products, which for SAP is obviously S/4HANA, that was introduced by Colin before. What I can do is I can go into the middle widget if you want. These dashboards can be customized to whatever you want it to display. When you're an S/4HANA customer, you can have you have access to all this data, and you can tweak it as you want. But you can go in and you can say, show me how my product S/4HANA is doing. And what it does immediately, it churns out all the revenue data linked to this particular product, and it shows you the incremental revenue over time. Obviously, that starts on January 1st, and then currently we are May 5, so that's where we are. And in total, we have done about 450 million of sales. This data obviously has been tweaked just for this demo purpose. What I then do is I'm not interested in the whole year. I just want to show I just want to see what's happening in the first quarter, because that is what this board meter is about. So I reduce the timeline, and I can see in more detail what happened to my revenue. And you can see that, interestingly enough, every time by the end of the month, just before the start of the next month, I see a hump in my revenues. That's how we sell in SAP. This is for S/4HANA product. Then I may be interested to see a line item, because maybe I got some questions from the audience. Where is this revenue actually coming from? And this is the real beauty of such dashboards, Boardroom of the future. I can go into here, show me the line items, and if I click on that, I can then see all the different companies that we had where we closed deals with. And if the question is what is the biggest deal that we saw in the past quarter, I'm going to sort it descending, and then I can see that we had this deal with a company called Member Cargo, and we sold a 33 million HANA deal. Okay, so I can go from top line view of my business in 5 or 10 seconds. I can go down to close deals. In the board meeting, everybody can, where everybody's inside. All right. Then I want to hide that again, and then what I want to do is I want to see how this S/4HANA may have different sub-products inside. So there's simple finance, simple logistics. I want to see how each of the different single products is contributing to my overall product sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this product into my chart, and what it does immediately, it retrieves all the financial data, the revenue data from that specific product, and displays it, and you can see how much contribution is done from that particular product. Okay, so let me remove that now. The next thing I want to see, this is still quite high level. I can see my revenue, but I want to see where is it coming from. Where do we get most revenue from a geographical point of view, for example. So what I can do, there's this little icon which says 360-degree analysis. So let me go into it. And when I do that, a new window will open. Okay, and this window has a few interesting pieces of information for the boardroom. It shows you a map of the world where you do business. We do business in almost all these countries, all the green countries that you see. Then you see, and if you go there, you can see how much revenue per country you get. There's headcount distribution. How much quota carrying people headcount do you have versus support people? And here on the right hand side, you see all the deals that you currently have in your pipeline for this product group. So you see a kind of a deal size composition, and if you can then go into each of these bubbles and show what deal is that. The beauty of this of such system is now it gets information from different sources are leading into this dashboard. This is not only your SAP ERP anymore or your S/4HANA. This information, your pipeline information, obviously comes from your CRM system, where you can see your sales pipeline. So you can see different deal sizes, etc. Okay. Now, let's assume that there is a question inside of the somebody raises a question in the boardroom stating, okay, I hear a rumor that in North America we may have problems with headcount. We may the targets, we're not going to achieve the targets because we may not have enough salespeople. Typically, such question would be taken offline as an agenda item to be discussed in the next quarter. That's typically what happens in companies. Not in the boardroom of the future. In the boardroom of the future, you can go back, you can put on a filter, North America, USA, and then you say go. And if I press go, it would calculate it would recalculate the whole analysis. Right now, this revenue line is just North America, and what I can do then, if I click on 360 degree analysis, what I can see is then the North America view. And here on the right hand side, I can see all these different deal sizes, and on the left hand side, I can see a map of all the American states and where it's going well and where there are problems in terms of headcount. Now, to that specific question, are we going to make it in America? We can now, in like 10 or 15 seconds, we can conclude, yeah, in 3 states actually, we're very likely to going to make our revenues because the number of headcounts, quota-carrying headcounts to sell what we need to sell are there. There are 4 states where we may have a problem, but it's not. We probably can deal with it. There is 1 state, California, who is very likely we're not going to meet our targets. And if we go into California and we zoom in here, we can see that the target that we need to make our numbers for the year is about 600 million, and we have about 51 headcounts. That's going to pose a problem, and the system has already identified it. You saw that with the red icon. It's not enough people, not enough salespeople to make that target happen. So the next question that we're going to be asked in the boardroom: what are we going to do about it? How many headcounts do we need to make our numbers in California? Because this may be a risk for our business if we don't meet it. That is where the boardroom of the future has a predictive or simulation function as well. So where I'm going now is to planning and simulation. I open up a simulation. I add a simulation series total revenue. You can see that in this little chart. And then I take this information and I push that over to Cloud for Planning. So once I do that, all the information is taken into Cloud for Planning, and it opens up, in that application, it opens up a spreadsheet, a very easy to manage spreadsheet type of application. And what I can do there, I can change the parameters for California headcount and simulate the impact it has on revenue, the impact it has on operating margin. So what I'll do, I can go in here, okay, I can fill up just a random number, and then I can press, if I'm happy with the result, I press save, and I go back to my overview. And what I can see here is now, if you here, the blue line is what was originally predicted by the system, where you will end in the year. The red line shows you the bump in addition, the additional revenue bump that you can get if you deploy the new sales headcounts. You can see that from a certain date in a certain month. You'll see that you'll see the increase. Now, what we want to know is what is the impact of this on my business, and I can do a simulation. And what the Boardroom of the future will do for you, it will recalculate all your financials on the fly in terms of milliseconds. It will recreate your balance sheet, and it will show you how your balance sheet with this change, how it will develop over time until the end of the year. It will recreate this picture and now say, and it has still your actuals, your forecasted number, but an extra line is there. It's the amber line that you can see over here, and that shows the simulated impact. And obviously you can drill down a bit deeper, so you cannot really see it. But what it means is that this Boardroom of the future allows you to do such operations that typically cost you days or weeks to do in your organization, in terms of seconds. And I think that is that's the real power that we want to bring also to your boardrooms. And as Colin said, if you are interested to know more about this, I'm going to be here. Colin will be here for the rest of the lunch. But you can also come to Singapore and see this in action, where we can show that to you and your organizations. Thank you.